will put the Pirates in front with the best goal we've seen so far. Here come the Saints, fired across the front. Goal by Mercy. Give her half an inch and she will punish you. Baxter, one of the greatest finishes we've seen on any of our broadcasts.
Welcome to the statewide Super League contest between the Pirates and the Storm. I'm Tim White, and commentating with me tonight is Holly Evans. So, Holly, welcome. And what are you expecting from tonight's game?
Some quick, some fast hockey. I'd expect nothing less from these guys, but I'd also like to see some nice control, some nice ball movement. So just kind of variety between the two styles of play.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this contest. The Super League brings together the best players in the state, puts them playing in combined teams, and this is the concept that we've got in front of us tonight. Really excellent contest last week between the Saints and the Storm, I believe. I think it ended in a 2-2 draw, and you'd expect tonight's contest to be really tight. Looking at the Pirates lineup there tonight, we've got some quality players there. One player that you can see that's missing straight away is Cameron Joyce, because he's about a foot taller than everyone. So unless he's not out there in the starting lineup, but I believe that he's not playing tonight, and he's a big loss for the Pirates.
They've still got some really solid names. You've seen Ryan O'Shea, Eddie Chudabara in goals, Cameron White looking through the midfield. So you still expect them to be nice and solid.
Yeah, and then on the other side of the ledger with the Storm outfit, some really quality names through there. Dan Cox will be prominent at the back. Dan Mitchell will be prominent no matter where he plays, although he's now probably got the tag of utility, so he could end up anywhere. Lachlan Buzzico has come off was coming off the back of a really impressive under-21 tournament where he scored 4 goals from his drag flicks and had a really commanding presence as that free defender for the under-21 state team who did well. And so he'll play that role tonight. Curtis Wilson is lining up in front of him at centre mid. Curtis will enjoy that freedom as a centre mid, plays that position well and is deceptively quick. So there's a couple of real corner threats there with both Buzz and Curtis in that team, as well as the game gets underway with the Pirates in possession. So already a little indication of the way the Storm are trying to press, and they've won it straight away. And a great opportunity right from the word go is that Al Oliver, I think, chasing the ball there. But you can see that as soon as the Pirates threw that ball into Andy Leet, the Storm collapsed the space really quickly, forced the turnover. As soon as they won the turnover, they spread it to the open side and had a good chance right in the opening minute. So on the ball there, Ryan O'Shea, who has got a really strong outletting game, really calm in defence, so he'll be a key player for the Pirates tonight. As you can see, the Storm interesting outletting pattern. They've got the pitch absolutely extended, so they've got 3 strikers sitting up in their attacking 25, which has really opened up midfield space where they've tried to find Buzzico, who's able to do a great job there. And looking to penetrate there was Reuben Wild from Adelaide Uni. So is this Luke Larwood? Great opportunity.
Oh.
And some would say he was crossing the ball. I'm saying that he might have pulled that across the face. You do want, as we talked about in the women's game, you want players to miss on what you would call the professional side. I think he almost could have settled and almost, could have he actually tried to lift the ball over the left shoulder of the keeper. Pretty hard to save if that was the shot that was able to go with. But as we see, it's action-packed early. Great opportunity for the Storm. So that was a beautiful bit of play. Started with an outlet, ball fed into the midfield, out wide, and then forward. Jimmy Mitten, who has actually answered the call for the Storm tonight, because Jimmy Mitten's Burnside, and unless I'm wrong, Burnside aren't part of the Storm zone. So, and an opportunity there. So there may be an inquiry into Jimmy Mitten playing in the Storm team tonight, particularly if he scores, and he had a good opportunity there.
Yeah, I love how the Storm are moving the ball just bang, bang, bang. So they're not carrying it, they're actually looking for passes, and they're super quick.
Oh, so Matt Morton read that, won the ball in dangerous area. Great feed to Simon Wells, who's ended up winning the first corner of the night. So a bad turnover at the back there by, I think it was Ryan O'Shea, who fed it effectively straight to the forehand of Morton, who did a clever little backhand sort of feed pass, if you like, to Wellesley, and Dan Haynes and Daniel Pennant really just had to spoil that and give away the first PC of the night. And we talked about the PC threats. You've got 3 flickers and they've got a triple battery set up. So you've got Wells on the far battery, Buzzico in the middle, and Curtis Wilson, and all 3 of them very capable young flickers.
Good save. Double save.
Double save. So the first opportunity of the night went to the middle flicker in Buzzico, and Ed Chittleborough was able to parry it away, and I think helped also by Ryan O'Shea with a lash at the ball over the sideline.
The question is, setting up with 3 flickers, while does look good, does it change what the runners do? Because you don't have to worry about any deflectors.
True.
So it does look good.
It does, as we see just a lack of understanding between Luke Larwood and Paxton Silva. So Paxton had looked to want the feed a bit more central, and Luke was expecting Paxton to fade back out. But I absolutely get what you're saying. I guess the chances of, although the options of in the men's game of finding deflectors has become less and less with the advent of the drag flick, hasn't it?
It's very true, yeah. And if you've got a drag flicker that's on song, you'd be going to them every time.
Yep. And you know, watching Buzzico up at Lismore at 21s, as I said, he was in really good flicking form, and he earned the first flick of the night. So maybe they'll rock paper scissors their way through the night for the next opportunity. So, but you know, Curtis Wilson, I've seen him flick a lot of goals over the years, so he'll get on the end of a few, I think. So beautiful ball there by Andy Leet, but just not able to be received in the circle. I'm not actually sure who that is, number 5. We're going to have to check that for the Pirates. Maybe someone can help us out. Send through a comment. So again, you know, really nice to see the amount of space in this game set up by the outlet pattern of both teams, but in that instance it was the Storm who are sending their strikers high. It's creating more midfield depth. Beautiful ball. And a great opportunity for Morton, who had drifted into the space. Well read by Chittleborough in the end. I think, you know, was it a shot by Morton or did he mistrap it? I mean, I'll ask him. What do you think, Holly?
I reckon he was Kieran Goversing it.
It's now called the Kieran Govers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to say as a verb though. So
yeah.
You had an attempt. I'm not sure if you nailed it though.
I did not.
Curtis Wilson now setting up at the back, looking to penetrate long, but really well read and won. Who's that in the... That's Adam Lawrence, I think, for the Pirates. Foxy finding himself in an old familiar spot further up the field, so he started at the back, but you won't keep him at the back. And I think the other players will fill in roles around him when he gets forward, so that was Curtis Wilson's job at that point. So Scott Germain now, we haven't mentioned him, he's captaining the Pirates tonight, and he'll be prominent in the midfield, one of the key midfielders in the state over a number of years.
Another one of those stalwarts.
Absolutely, and beautifully, firstly read by Daniel Cox to get under the fall of that high ball, but also the way he brought it down lacrosse style. Really nice piece of skill. Players these days have to be really good in the air, simply because of the amount of aerials that are played these days, and we see another one as we speak. Matt Morton wins that one down. Hard not to see Morts in his bright orange shoes out there tonight.
They're very noticeable, and I like them a lot. Nice strength on the ball there by Andy Lee.
Yeah, it's lovely to watch Andy play. He's just a really good mover. Loves to carry the ball. If he gets opportunities to carry it and break lines, he will look to do so. And I often see Andy play on the outside, where he can be dangerous around the fringes and extend up the line and so on. And here he's playing more of a midfield role. So if he wins the ball in that position, he'll be dangerous. And again, beautifully won overhead. It's probably one of the better rule changes that's happened to the game, to allow players to receive in that above their shoulder, which a few years ago you weren't allowed to do.
It's interesting because I don't think it's made the game any more dangerous.
No, I agree. As long as it's umpired well. So Menadue sort of never really looked under total control, but managed to win the free hit in a really dangerous spot for the Storm. Al Oliver just struggling to keep his feet, and he's thrown the stick up in the air and then caught it with his right hand. So classic Al. We saw getting back to Al's hockey, a beautiful finish by him, I think, in last week's game, where he did a sort of semi-upright tomahawk that flashed into the net through the keeper's legs. The ball travelled at ridiculous speed. So Al Oliver is normally a bit of a highlights package himself, so we'd be expecting big things of Al tonight.
So the Pirates with the ball in their attacking half, but look, press sets up really well.
Oh, great opportunity for the Pirates. And who is that in the net for the Storm? Have we determined that yet? Is it Sam Carr? I think it is. So a really important save. Dangerous ball, and is that the opening goal? No. So just wondering if that was. I think that's Rowan Hope. Is it on the back post there for the Pirates, who dived and flung himself, but the ball went into the net, but it wasn't touched by the Pirates player in the circle. So we were expecting a fast and ferocious game, and we're certainly being delivered that in the first 10 minutes. And here's a 3-on-3 if they can set things up well here, but really well read by, is that Ryan O'Shea out there?
Yes.
Who's then fed it to Paxton Sylvie and then out to the open side. And this is the mystery player. So we're going to have to need some help here, because Holly, you're not helping me.
I am not. We'll find out at half time or quarter time.
We will. Surely someone's helped us out.
Oh, that was millimetre close.
I didn't see that, Holly. I was looking at my comments. So it was millimetre close.
Yeah.
An opportunity for the Pirates. Jermaine heavily pressured there, but was able to win his way out of it, and then spreads it wide. Oh, great save by Carr. Again, Rowan Hope looking dangerous on the back post, and a dangerous ball into the circle. Now, I think that might be Adam Lawrence who's fed that ball into the circle for the Pirates. So a little bit of pressure here by the Pirates team. ball across the net. That was almost too flat that time, because Daniel Cox was able to read that and step in front, and then win the ball. It's been great watching the evolution of Daniel Cox as a player over the years, moving from one part of the field to the next part of the field, and he's found his way towards the back of the pitch and being a really prominent defender now in all teams that he plays with. As we watch Al Oliver doing what Al loves best, which is breaking free and taking players on. Look to try and get it to the back post with that whippy action of his, but Ed Chudabra watched that into the goal, being untouched by a Storm player. And straight away, Pirates outlet, ball down the other end. So yeah, there's not a lot of time to take a breath at the moment.
No, so that's when you see the basic skill level of the guys. That's what's quite impressive, because they are moving at pace and there's no chance for resting. So the fact that they're still able to keep that good basic skill up is impressive.
So Daniel Penner there feeding it into Andy Leet and then back out. Great play by the Pirates, finding Paxton Silby in the circle. Cam Higgins was the one who fed that into him. But Paxton wasn't able to control the ball, and Buzzico's going to bring the ball out. He's got a great aerial on him, Buzz, and he's just landed that.
Beautiful.
45 metres, beautifully received by the guest player in Jimmy Mitten, who's looking to go all the way, and there's a chance for the Storm, but it's great save by Chudabra, beautifully played by Daniel Penner. So we're certainly seeing highlight after highlight in this opening quarter. Probably the first time that we've called, well, we didn't call him, but Cameron White on the ball there. He'll be dangerous for the Pirates tonight. He's a really beautiful ball handler who likes to break lines and get forward. So probably try to look to get him into the game a little bit more.
That's the thing about Super League. There are so many good players that the players that you'd expect to be dominant don't necessarily have to be, because they can just work as a group.
That's right. So the Storm just sinking back here a little bit, allowing the Pirates a bit more space to play into. Really well done by Cameron White, or Cuffy. And you can see the danger, I guess, of a team breaking a line of a press and then looking to set up 2-on-1s further down the field. So that was really well done by Adam Lawrence. Daniel Penner with his famous stick twirl. Won by Buzz, and this is an opportunity. So right now we have effectively got a 4-on-2, but how well did Dan Penner control that? So, you know, I think Buzzco will look at that thinking that he could have got that a little bit more on the advantage line of the defender, but he allowed Penner to get back in the contest there.
Yeah, it was a great trap.
They're trying to avoid corners here, which they've done very well. So Connor Richmond Spouse was the player that was engaged in the contest. You saw him just drop his distance back a little bit in that circle. The ball was then fed, and then Curtis Wilson, as the free player, was able to pick up and or step up and make the trap and then clear the ball.
Lovely small game work between the Storm guys.
So at quarter time, in what can only be described as a frantic opening quarter with lots of skills on show, it's 0-0, and we'll be back after a short break. Welcome back to the State Hockey Centre for the second game of the evening in the statewide Super League between the Pirates and the Storm. So quarter time, 0-0. We see Mikey Wells, the Pirates coach along with Jordan Glover addressing the Pirates team. It's 0-0, Holly, but you would say that it's certainly hasn't been a dull opening.
No, the highlights reel's already jam-packed. Some great saves by the keepers as well.
Yeah, goalmouth action at either end. You know, sometimes a game starts with a little bit of sort of tactical ploy around trying to sort of understand how each other team is going to go about their business, but that hasn't been the case at all. Both teams have come out swinging. There was an opportunity, I think, within the opening minute, and the same sort of pace remained throughout the game. So will the same style continue? Will the coaches look to try and gain a bit more control? Coaches like control. Players probably like the action. The commentators and the spectators like what we just saw. So it'll be interesting to see what plays out in this quarter.
Yeah. I love how both teams are getting nice and wide and using the whole pitch. And the ball movement is allowing that as well.
Yeah, and this has been really a feature of the Storm play. And you see a chance right from the start. And a great save by Ed Chittleborough. And so basically that was that opportunity came because the Storm press closed in as a unit, was won in the second line of the press, fed to the free player, and Matt Morton looked like he had a free shot on goal, but Chittleborough was up to it.
Yeah, I reckon Matt wouldn't believe his eyes with all the space and time that he had.
No, he was ready to work out which celebration he was going to use. He's got a few of them. He scored a few goals this year. So Dan Mitchell, remind me, did we see him in the first quarter or has he just come on?
I've seen a little bit of him.
Oh, he'll be devastated
Yeah.
that I didn't notice him. Yeah, I mean he's had a big few hours. He was coaching before the game. He then stepped up and umpired the women's game, and now he's playing in the men's game. Look at that beautiful pass to find Kiddo from Oliver, but just out in front, although Morton's won it back and a chance, and look at that clearance from Chittleborough. He is putting on a show tonight. Well, I asked whether the coaches would try and temper the players a bit and play for a bit more control and tempo hockey. We haven't seen it.
No, we certainly haven't. I think the pressing hasn't necessarily allowed it. There's a lot of hassling.
Yeah, and look at that play by the Pirates. They were able to stretch the Storm defence. Unfortunately, you can't feed the ball into a circle with a set defence, and Daniel Cox will trap them all night long.
Yeah. It's that interesting thing if people really just want to get the ball moving forward, but you've got to remember the sweeper's there, and the sweeper doesn't have to mark. All they need to do is stop that ball.
Yeah, that was a great piece of play. Beautifully won back by Cameron White. Probably Buzzico a little bit surprised that he'd sort of come in on his blind side, and there's Jermaine breaking through. That sort of outlet from the Storm is interesting because they're stretching the Pirates' defence so much that it's actually creating a little bit more space in the midfield. So the Pirates may have to sort of gamble a little bit more to sort of condense the midfield a bit, because if they break through the midfield and then can get it to their front line, that might cause issues for the Pirates as the game wears on. We've seen a number of aerials tonight in the men's game. We saw quite a few in the women's game as well, but certainly more so in the men's game. It's a pass that's used a lot. Nice attempt of the first time. It's one good way of breaking up a press, particularly if it's of a zonal nature, that you know, the pressing team is looking for the player to receive the ball. Looking to receive the ball and then close in, and if you redirect the ball, then obviously that sort of breaks the line of the press quite easily. So we may see little bits and pieces of that there. So again, really well played by the Storm, set up by Connor Richmond's spouse, Simon Wells now, but he just lost control of the ball, and well run by Ryan O'Shea.
Great tackle.
Another dangerous opportunity. So Oliver on his backhand, and Chittleborough up to the challenge. Probably surprised Chittleborough a bit because he was maybe expecting it to go on his left foot to the back post, and he had to then quickly get the hands up and save it on the near side. So all straight at him.
Oh,
That's a great ball, and Edinburgh again.
he's all over the place tonight.
And knowing Ed as I do, he would be just loving it out there tonight. You know, he's been a really good keeper over the years. Not many years ago, 2013, went to the Junior World Cup in India for the Australian men's junior team, the Boroughs. Ended up in Perth the year before last, won the goalkeeper of the competition over there at the Olympians medal. So he's got a lot of pedigree as a keeper. You'd expect to see him feature strongly in the Adelaide Fire men's squad, which will be selected in the next few weeks. Really well read by Buzzacombe.
Nice overhead out. Good run.
Yeah, Cameron White, he's probably running out of options now. He'll need some support here. Oh, will he? He'll just play his way out of it. Well, just when I said that he'd run out of options, he may be my words, and I probably should have known better than that, having seen him do that over a number of times over the years. So good movement by the Pirates just to swing the ball around, but mishandled in the middle of the field by Leet. But again, another turnover and the ball's going back the other way. So but yeah, it's a bit of a game of turnovers at the moment. Neither team's controlling the ball. Incisive pass by Mitchell, looking for his good mate Morton, but cut out by the Pirates' defence. So Cam Higgins, fast with the ball, but probably just a bit hopeful with that pass into the circle. So we see the Pirates, the Storm outletting pattern again, and that ball has gone over half the pitch, and Matt Morton ended up having a chance to receive that.
It's a lovely overhead. I think what I like the Storm doing is that variety. Sometimes they're moving the ball around, and sometimes they're just going direct.
Oh, Simon Wells, great pickup. Oh, but it just fell onto the back of his stick, I think. Is that what you saw?
I believe so.
But he read that well.
Did.
And I think he was also thinking about, here's my chance, what's going to happen? It just fell off. And, I mean, full credit to Chitterer again. He came off his line quickly. He moves well in his gear to close down shots.
Such a great pickup, though.
A very good pickup. And you actually also saw the fact that he'd read what, it might have been Ryan O'Shea in that left-hand corner, but he read that the pass was going to be thrown and then closed down the space. And that is the danger of the aerial. If it's too, if it lacks deception, then opposition teams can step up into the space. Great ball out to Jermaine. He's clever in this part of the field as he works his way. Interesting play by... who was that for the Pirates? Who was jumping out of the way? Larwood, I think.
Larwood.
Yeah, he got himself in all sorts of a tangle and thought his only way out here is just to try and do a little jump and hope that Scotty Jermaine missed him. Sometimes Scott's almost too clever for his own teammates.
It's that awkward position to be in when you've gone to the back post to help out, but that player's kept rolling.
That's right. Maybe just sink back out from the goal, the cross style, and go the other way. But so, I'd be interested to look at that. Pirates, as we see an opportunity here, and a corner won by the Storm through a a midfield turnover. The ball fed into Morton straight away. Morton looked to find his teammate in the circle, but instead of finding that, he found a foot. And the second corner of the night for the Storm. First one, we saw a triple battery. We talked about the merits or otherwise of that. What do they wait and see what they come up with here?
Same members, same 3 members stepping up.
In the same 3 positions.
It is,
Holly.
yeah.
Yep. As you mentioned, a lack of deflectors, although the battery can become a deflector, can't it?
This is true.
A trapper, for example, or even the hitter. So.
Oh,
Curtis Wilson.
very nice.
The big moose, so he'll enjoy that. It's been hard work getting the ball past Ed Chitterborough tonight, but that is Curtis's favourite spot to flick. You know, Ed Chitterborough, as good as he's been tonight, you know, he sets himself high standards, and he there's 2 ways a goalie can save him there. You know, you'd expect him to be offset onto that side, and the running lines to be blocking out the other side of the goal. So you can either get across with your foot and your pad, or you can dive down. He tried the dive method, and the ball snuck underneath him.
Yeah, I guess that is the positive of the 3 batteries. Is it's really hard for the first runner to actually pick the line that they should be running.
Yep.
But
There you
just
go.
generally a good flick.
It was a really good flick. They're really hard to deal with down that bottom corner. As I said, I think it is Curtis's favourite flick. So Storm get the all-important opening goal in what's been a really impressive first half by both teams, with chances at either end. But we have called Chitterborough more than we have called the Storm keeper in Sam Carr, who was busy early, but the Storm have got on top.
Yeah, I think the Storm have looked really good from those intercepts. Just their pressing and their harassing, I think, has led to some really good open play.
Well, the thing that I've been impressed, well, a number of things. I've enjoyed the skill level of both teams. What I have been impressed with is that when the Storm have won the ball in pressing situations, that's a great ball, but it's really well cut out by Chitterborough, who, as an elite goalkeeper at this level, understands that that's his role. He can't let it get to the back post. So he read that well, came off his line and cleared it. But what the Storm have done, as we look here, an opportunity. Bit of a lash at goal there by, I think that might have been Lee Tate for the Pirates. But when the Storm have won the ball in the press, they've been really good at actually then getting opportunities. And that's not always the case.
No, I think it's the hard work from people off the ball to create really good, easy passes. And I don't think that can be discounted at all, because if you don't have the people working around you, there's still 3 or 4 defenders in that area. They can cut it out. But if you give good options, they've really got no hope.
Yep. So, yeah, Todd Kiddo just found himself in the middle of the pitch there and almost got closed down. Curtis Wilson with a dangerous slider, but that was beautifully cut out by Lawrence. And, you know, we talk about the fact that if you win the ball in the turnover and you go the other way quickly, you can get an attacking opportunity. And we've just seen that. And great play by the keeper. So Sam Carr came off his line, dropped, and was able to clear it with his stick. But that all came about with, I think it was Adam Lawrence who read the slider from Wilson and picked it up, went the other way. As we see another opportunity, but again, well cut out by Sam Carr. So the Pirates just flexing their muscles after we just talked about the fact that Storm had been the more productive of the 2 teams. And we'd really gauge that by the number of goal opportunities and the number of saves that Ed Chitterborough had made. So good patient play by the Storm. You know, stringing 5 or 6 passes together, just moving the press, waiting for an opportunity. And here is the opportunity for them to close down the player. Probably a lack of ball speed from Cox there allowed the press to close in, and the Pirates win it in a dangerous position and have a chance to build something with 2 minutes left in the half.
I do like that they're willing to throw the ball around. I think in the past, the South Australian guys do tend to want to go. Do tend to want to go forward a lot. I think just that ball movement opens up the space.
Absolutely. Dangerous ball there by Ryan O'Shea. And you know, Holly, you've played in all parts of the field, but when you've played as a striker's job is to expect it to come to you, no matter if you think the ball's going to be cut out or the umpire's going to blow it out the other way because of a lifted ball. But Paxton Silby maybe just a little bit too reactive than wanting the ball to come to him there, and a lost opportunity.
Yeah, I think those bouncy balls or these lifted balls are actually more dangerous a lot of the time than flat ones because they're unpredictable.
Yep, so Cameron White's been impressive as the game has worn on. Again, dangerous ball, not handled by Connor Richmond's spouse, but then Simon Wells helping out in deep defence. So Pirates making a late push to try and equalise not long before half time. So just loss of possession there by Cameron White, and probably just a little bit too keen to win it back quickly and gave a soft free away. So that's what the Storm wanted with in the last minute. So they'll look to try and kill the contest in this last 45 seconds. And if the Pirates are going to drop back, I would probably just keep throwing the ball around, but they've looked to go forward. And why not when you got Dan Mitchell on the end of it, who's found Simon Wells with a good lead. Andy Leake tracking him as well as he tries to enter the circle and win a corner. But Andy was good enough there to get his feet out the way and win the ball over the baseline.
Some fancy footwork to avoid giving a short corner away.
So Mitchell clever in these situations. A little interplay between Mitchell and Oliver, who've played together for numerous years. And that siren signals the end of the first half. An exciting half of hockey. We saw the skill level at an elite level. We saw the pace, you know, fast throughout. We saw opportunities at either end, Holly.
We did, and I think the goalkeeping has been top-notch both sides. I think that's the only reason why there's only one goal in the game so far.
Absolutely. So join us after the halftime break. Welcome back to the State Hockey Centre, to the second half of the statewide Super League clash between the Pirates and the Storm. I'm here with co-commentator Holly Evans, and Holly, it's been everything we'd hoped for.
It is. It's been fantastic. I love the skill set that the boys are showing tonight, the pace, but also the patience.
Yep, we've seen, I think we've seen really good examples of skill level, but as you just alluded to, we've seen great structure as well in both teams when they've got the ball, when they haven't got the ball. We've seen the importance of that and trying to open the field up, and that allows the players to be skillful and clever. We've had a little issue out here that the cameraman he hasn't dropped the ball, he's dropped something else. Maybe
his wallet.
His wallet or his phone. He's flashing his credit cards around. So a good opening to the second half, which shows the Storm leading 1-0-0, but that certainly doesn't sum up the half in terms of chances in that first half.
No, I think the play it was up and down in terms of who had control. So, either team could be up.
Yeah. So right from the word go, Matt Morton just tracked straight at Luke Larwood, who he didn't think was 5 metres, and so a clever opening by the fluoro orange-footed Morts. Buzzico, who was impressive in that first half, with the ball, had one corner chance saved by Chittleborough, and both keepers back in the net, I think, for Chittleborough and Carl still on. So Kiddo showing a turn of foot. Todd Kiddo, who he'll enjoy me saying that. And Mitchell looks like Jig, Craig Victory, who's the coach of the Storm, looks like he may have kind of released him further up the field, or maybe Mitty might have released himself. So, but we see the ball going the other way. First time pass there by Lawrence, but Cox cut that out beautifully, and now Cox is probably going to look for an opportunity to stay further advanced and drift forward here, I think.
It's the centre defender's dream.
Yep, he's now turned into the centre striker. Look at this. Wouldn't this just... No, he's just pulled back out. Great ball, though. Mitchell finding a dangerous spot, but just running almost out of ideas and closed down by Chittleborough, who dropped down to one knee in what he'd probably term an Argentinian block, the RG block. Beautiful play there by the Storm. It's probably the most effective set play off a long corner. Just pass, redirect into the circle, have a player hopefully posting back into that hole, but if you don't, maybe he's going to find a foot anyway.
Yeah, I think in general, I don't think long corners have yet been worked out. I think, a little bit more thought needs to go into how we actually set play. You can see the Storm boys have been doing a little bit, a couple of touches.
Yep.
But yeah, it's something that I think could definitely be worked on.
But it's earned them a corner, and some change in personnel at top of the battery and also positions. So it goes to Wilson, and it's run down by Leet, but it's going to be retaken because he cleared it, I think, with his shin there. So I think you had Mitchell on the third battery that time. You had Wilson in the middle, and you had Buzzico on the left. So interesting to see what they come up with here. I mean, Wilson and Buzzico, the more renowned flickers. Mitchell, the stronger voice. So we'll see who wins out here. So, really well executed by the Storm to win their or to score their second goal of the night. So Wilson stepped up in the middle battery, did what you'd like to term a little sort of backdoor pass to Buzzico, who picked it up with time and space and just flung it hard and low past Chittleborough's left hand into the bottom corner.
It's pretty hard to stop that from that distance.
Yeah, it's actually become a corner that's probably used more and more with as the drag flickings improve. What we've also seen improving is the running lines from defenders, both in the men's game and the women's game. And so to try to counteract that, we've seen players sort of use that deceptive sort of backdoor pass to try and then open up their player on their left-hand side. So this will be this is a good challenge for the Pirates now. So, but just as we speak, they've got a great opportunity with a great circle entry, one of their best moves of the night. Great little interplay, but then just a hopeful ball, and then won back by the Storm. So great play, but just a lack of thought right at the end. Beautiful pickup by Dan Penner, who just has the best eye. I think he was maybe the person responsible for the first time ball that was knocked out of defence. It might have been him or Ryan O'Shea, who are similar in sort of style, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Really strong, but those hands, it's very difficult to get it through them.
Yeah. So Buzzico, really good to see him step up there and understand that space that he needed to get into and then win the ball and then simply lay it off. So good play by Buzzico. But yeah, we were just saying that it is a challenge now for the Pirates, having gone down that second goal now, to see whether they can turn it around, or will the Storm assert themselves and look to go further ahead.
Definitely goes to show the importance of having a really strong short corner battery, because I think the game feels really even, but it's just that, that finish.
Yeah, well, at the start of the game, we talked about the corner threats of both teams. We really predominantly talked about the corner threats of the Storm, and they had, they've got 3 good flicking threats. Dan Mitchell can also be involved in corners, but with Wilson, Buzzico and Wells hasn't had a flick yet, that, they are a hard team to stop if they get corners. So you'd be very surprised if they weren't looking to win more corners. On the other hand, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think the Pirates have had a corner yet. They would expect to see, Dan Penner probably on the top of the circle for them. Ryan O'Shea, you'd expect to see up there as well. So, but at this stage, we haven't seen that.
Yeah, I think it would be just a little bit of a coaching cue to actually look for those short corners.
Yeah. So Jermaine with the ball in a dangerous area. Just cleverly tries to feed the ball, but it was well read by the Storm, and now Buzzico just using skill and also a bit of a change of pace, and then good ball protection to lay it out. Morton will fling it out here to the open side, and Mitten's getting forward, who just held his lead, and Wells probably got it too far in the air and has turned the ball over there. I think maybe laying the ball off there was a better option than running it through those numbers. Clever ball by O'Shea. Something that you do see a lot now with in the men's game. There's a lot of stretched outletting, which is come about with also the presses being quite zonal, and what you're seeing is a lot of sort of pockets of space. So you're not only seeing the long bomb aerials, you're seeing the clever little aerials into a pocket of space, because it's almost like a mark in AFL. I mean, if you can find your player there, then the other players have to retreat 5 metres, don't they?
Very much so. The interesting thing in the women's game is
great play by Andy Lees, and there's the first corner of the night, just when we were talking about it. So Buzzico had got himself into the right area, but just wasn't able to handle it. So, yeah, what were you saying in the women's game?
In the women's game, once players get better and better at overheading with distance, I think you'll start seeing that come, and you see it more in the international women's game. I'd love to see the South Australian women really focus on that at a club level and as a team for the Fire.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, obviously, Karen McMahon might be back there. I was watching Yelena McLaughlin throw some aerials today, and her aerial's improving. And if she plays in that back group for the Fire, she's someone that can do it. So, but let's get our attention back to the game, because a really important moment, the Pirates' first opportunity, and Dan Penner will be looking to put this one away. So run down by Menadue. He's got the big ice hockey glove on his right hand by the look of it, but that didn't help him because it didn't hit his right hand. It hit his, it hit his right foot or right leg, I think. So interesting that they haven't set up much deception with that battery. You only had Penner. On the other side, you've got Lee Tape. You wouldn't expect it to go to him. However, he may be hiding a trick that I don't know, Holly. Great angle.
Oh,
So there we go. Straight out to Dan Penner. Again, the same area of the goal that Curtis Wilson scored. Curtis maybe a little bit lower. Dan Penner just above the backboard. Really difficult height for a keeper.
also really hard to get power at that height. It's not flat, and it's most people when they're learning to overhead, they want to go high.
Yep.
And I think it's just super sensible to find that sort of lower.
Oh, absolutely. And having watched a lot of the Pro League in the men's game, so many corners are now flicked low. And a lot of them are not flicked low into the corner. The keepers are actually better actually saving it right down in the bottom corner. But, you know, the go-to zone on that stick side of the keeper is often, I don't know, half a metre inside the post. And it's often a really difficult one for the keeper to save. And we saw Dan Penner basically get the Pirates right back in this contest. So from a neutral perspective, it's exactly what we wanted. You know, we had a 1-0 scoreline at halftime with a really exciting game and lots of chances. We've had the Storm assert themselves and score, but the Pirates have answered. So it sets the game up really well for the last 20 minutes of the match. Great play by Buzzco. Mitchell dangerous. Oh, and tried to lash the ball on his backhand past the near side of Chitterborough, and just narrowly missed the near side. So beautiful play by Wells, beautiful first time ball by Buzzco, backspace by Mitchell, and that's just narrowly missed, and it would have troubled Chitterborough had it been just inside the post, I think.
That one-time pass that just created that space.
We've seen it a few times in the men's and the women's games tonight. You know, the not allowing the defenders to get set with that first time pass, or the first time shot, as we saw with Beck Anderson in the women's game.
Yeah, and I think it was what you were saying before about those strikers just always being switched on and being aware.
So Jermaine really dangerous here. Great ball, Leap with a great chance. Saved by Sam Carr. It came out quicker than it went in. Andy Leap won't like me saying that, but it was really well dealt with by Sam Carr. So Storm just settling things down a little bit. Left the space behind for Mitchell to try and ghost into, who has been moved into a more prominent forward role there, but it was well read by the Pirates defence, although they probably just forced it by looking to go long too quickly there. Curtis Wilson, good piece of skill in the middle of the field, although he's lost it now to Jermaine, and an opportunity for the Pirates on the break. And a corner being given. I think Coxie had almost kind of blocked Jermaine's progress. Coxie almost sort of put up his hand and sort of accepted that. And a nice piece of sportsmanship with a little high five between each of them afterwards.
Well, they've played a lot of hockey together with the hot shot, so...
Yeah. So I'm not sure what Coxie was doing there. He looked like he was almost, playing some sort of balance beam game there. But
Matrix style.
Exactly, but... there's Worm's Eye View, we love that. A great opportunity for the Pirates to level the score. They've only had a couple of corners. Their first one was run down. The second one, Dan Penner, as we saw, found the net in the bottom corner, stick side of Sam Carr. So let's see what's in store. That injection looked a little bit slow to me. It just didn't get out quick enough. The runner was able to then get out quicker, and in the end it was too high anyway, and then into the body of the flicker, which is dangerous if it's above knee heights, into the body of the runner. So an opportunity lost.
Yeah, if that first runner gets out quick enough, it really puts the flicker off. So that drag has to be nice and quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think people forget about the trap and the drag because the drag flick's quite important, but if you don't have those two skills, you're in some serious trouble.
Absolutely. So that was closed down there by mystery man number 5, which is Nick Fitzgerald. We were thinking it might be a Fitzgerald, but it has been confirmed. So thank you for helping us out there. So a dangerous ball into Buzzco, and an opportunity for a turnover, which it's actually been, which is eventuated for the Pirates here. So I don't think the Storm would be pleased with what's going on at the moment. You know, they had a lead. It's been cut back to a 1-goal lead, and it's still a fairly frantic game. They're just, you know, probably not controlling the game as much as they would have hoped. And Buzzico choosing to have a sit down. He was actually not chosen to have a sit down. He was told to have a sit down when the umpire showed him a green card. So a 2-minute suspension for Buzzico. I think it was Buzzico, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
But great receive and shot by Mitchell. He is clever in that part of the field. So even with one less player, they were able to get a good opportunity in goal. He's just managed to find space where there wasn't much and then got the quick backhand shot away. You know, I've always wondered whether we should, in hockey, be more take a bit more risk during a power play. I mean, it's basically, you know, you see it in other sports like water polo where a team's got an extra number and they often have a chance to score. Well, it's exactly what's happened here. So what are the Pirates trying to do to do that?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is, so generally when you lose a play, you always take away from your strike zone. So should you actually push one of your defenders up into the midfield role and then push one up?
Well, I actually 100% think you should, because, well, actually, here we go, but probably a lack of control there by Higgins and well run by Wilson. But you're exactly right. The other team will play without a striker. There's almost nothing surer. Great play by Mitten.
Oh,
and
save.
Saved on the line, although it's probably lifted. But you're right, the other team will generally play without a striker, meaning that there's a wasted defender. And you've effectively got 2 free defenders at that point in time. There's no point in that, so particularly if you're a goal down. So, yeah, I'd like to see teams be a bit more aggressive in these situations. And certainly don't need to do that. You've got the extra number. You don't need to run it into contests in the middle of the field.
No.
But they've forced the turnover again. Al Oliver doing his famous stick 12, but that time he didn't land stick the landing.
Yeah.
So Buzzico back on the pitch now. So that sort of power play, if you want to call it that, is over. But this game is far from over. And here's an opportunity for Paxton Sylvie, and he has won the corner. Todd Kiddo looking a little bit forlorn there. And quite hairy. So, but yes, no, I caught up with Todd earlier. He's
been doing some great work, hasn't he?
Well, you know, some would say he's got the dream job. He's gone from being the development officer of Vanuatu to now the development officer of the Pacific, and so he chooses which Pacific island he chooses to work in. However, he's a little bit homebound now with Sazi's partner, 1 month away from having their first child. So I don't think he's going to get on a plane in the next month.
No, no.
So back to business. No Penner, who you would assume is off if he's not on the battery. So it's actually poor timing with Andy Leet and Cameron White. Now both are able to fling the ball. They're not of the standard probably of Dan Penner, but they both can be dangerous at top of the circle there.
Yeah, and I think having both the options this time around is also helpful.
Yep.
It's a lot going on.
So they've given Al, I think, a bit more time there to pad up, which I don't mind. It's a dangerous spot. Oh, here's a chance. And there's the equaliser. And how often do you see that basically a bit of a breakdown of a corner? I mean, in my view, that injection was mis-injected. It just didn't come out with any more, as much zest as it should have. It got easily run down. But the ball then, oh, there's an interesting view. But the ball then found its way to Andy Leet, who was pretty well unmarked from, 10 yards out. He was able to fling the ball into the net.
Great patience and control, because, that ball kind of comes loose. The first thing you want to do is just get it at goal. But they were quite smart about what they did.
Yeah, absolutely. So Andy Leet punching the air. I think that sort of, even that moment shows that these Super League games genuinely mean something. People think, you just put on the shirt and play for a combined team. But I think you'd agree that that's not the case, Holly.
Not at all. I think there's a lot of ego at play. Everyone wants to win. And it's also really fun playing with a different group, and you almost become like a little family, even in such a short period of time.
And here's a chance just before the three-quarter time whistle, although Larwood probably just trying to force the issue through a contest there a bit, and it was dealt with in the end. But you're right, you know, the best players in the state are generally the best players in the state, not only because their skill level, because their competitive nature. And we've seen that on show here tonight. So a dangerous turnover, and Andy Leake now winning the ball, giving it to Fitzgerald. So a chance with 10 seconds to go, and it's found Paxton Sylvia unmarked, but dealt with by Sam Carr over the baseline. And that gives us a chance to take a breather. The scores are locked at 2-all. Storm went to a 2-0 lead. The Pirates have responded, and we've got a great final quarter in store. So join us after the break. Right, welcome back to the final quarter of this statewide Super League encounter between the Southern Storm and the Western Pirates, and the game, Holly Evans, is locked at 2-2.
Yeah, it's been a great game. Interesting short corners are the where are the goals coming from tonight, but I just love the movement through the midfield, the chasing, and I think the basic skills tonight have been fantastic.
Yeah, 100% agree. Have we had all 4 goals have been corner goals? Yeah, I mean, the last one was a breakdown, but it's really well set up here. You know, thank you to, again, Matt Cunningham back in New Zealand for keeping us on our toes and reminding us that this is a must-win game for the Storm. If they don't win tonight, they cannot make the final of the Super League in a fortnight. So it'll be really interesting to see the style that they play in this quarter. They may just start as they've been, but will they change something to try and chase that win? So they looked aggressive in their press in that first minute. I think sometimes when teams need to chase a win, there's no point in leaving it to the last sort of 3 or 4 minutes. I'd like to see, you know, why can't you be aggressive from the start of from the quarter, get the goal, and then go back to something? I think the longer you leave it, the less patient that you are, and the less outcome you sometimes get with a change of structure. Yeah,
very much so, because then you start just looking long, or you try and look more central. Oh, lovely.
That's great play by, was it Oliver to Morton? But unfortunately fed the ball too close to Chitterborough, who's been very good, as has Sam Carr on the other end. We've talked about the goalkeepers tonight.
Yeah, I think they've been instrumental in keeping their teams in this game.
Yeah, agree. So the Storm probably looking a little bit more aggressive in nature in terms of their press. So they're still sort of covering some different sort of zones on the pitch, but they've stretched it out and pushed it up higher. So that often results in not winning the ball in the front line of the press, but winning the ball in the next line, which is what they just did then.
Sometimes I think that can be better as well, because you actually still have players forward. I think when you win the ball as a first line, you still have to have some individual skill to get past that last line.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get it to the second line, you've still got your strikers who are up forward, so you can either eliminate or make some passes.
Yep, good point. Ooh, so this is where they want to try and win the ball in that part of the field, and they are going hard to try and get it off Leet, who's getting himself into trouble, but he's got the skill and the, I guess, composure to work himself out. But one down by Buzzico, but turned over, and I can see this game opening up. I mean, the Storm are going to be stretched at certain times because they're going to try and chase the game, and this will be an end-to-end contest unless the Pirates choose to try and sit back a bit, but it just doesn't seem in their nature.
No,
they want to win the game as well. So
yeah, there's no way they're going to sit back. I think the game, if it does stretch out, I think it will be the team that can actually make those simple traps and simple passes are going to be the team that wins it.
yes,
I mean, it's quite a simple statement, but when you're trying to go at pace, those basic skills are a lot harder. So, you know, it'll be very interesting for the next, 10, 11 minutes?
absolutely. So again, the Storm making the field big, if you want to use that term, by putting their 3 strikers up in the front sort of quarter of the field. Cox getting forward, but well cut out by Penner. Tried to find Wells, who had found some space. See Craig Victory on the sideline chatting to Dan Mitchell around, giving him a little message before he comes onto the pitch. So the Storm continuing to be aggressive in their press here. You've got Morton being big up the front, but obviously the ball can be bombed, but it's now won, and as you said, there are numbers forward because the front line was pushed up. Great receive by Morton. Finding Wells, who's got a chance to shoot. Shirabra again.
That's a perfect spot to shoot to, though.
Yeah, it was really well done by Wells. You know, I think Ed, as Ed does sometimes, he loves that save. You know, some keepers would handle that on their foot. Ed likes to sort of drop with his glove in his arm, and dealt with it really well. Beautiful clearance as well. Didn't give the Storm a second bite at the cherry. So that type of ball is what the Storm want, but they want the receiver to then try and actually get out of that zone rather than pop it back out. So they'll be waiting for that and preying on it. Great win again, and you can see how dangerous they are when they win the ball and try and get it forward quickly. But unfortunately, Al Oliver just wasn't able to control the ball. Well done by Larwood, working his way out of that little tight area. And a dangerous ball. Just not able to be controlled by Rowan Hope, but won back by Higgins. And but here goes Curtis Wilson, who loves to get forward. You look at him moving now. We talked about that he does have deceptive pace, Curtis. When he was in Sassy, he was quick through the speed gates.
And I think as that sort of sweepery type player, centre midfield type player, they want to get up. So if you can overlap, chance of glory.
Oh, here's Mitchell. Oh,
Touch.
oh, Al Oliver, probably not one of his finest tackles. And this is what we're going to see. The Storm are going to gamble to try and win the ball, and if they don't, then if the Pirates are efficient going forward, they weren't necessarily then because they've allowed the Storm to get back. But if they are, they'll have opportunities the other way.
Yeah, it certainly sets up a reasonably exciting game for the spectators to watch.
I would take reasonably out of it. Oh, here's a chance outside the circle, but helped on by Lee Tape, I think, but well done by Todd Kiddo. So yes, I'm just wondering if they are going to chase the game, how long it will be before we see a definitive change of structure, or will we? Maybe they'll just back themselves to score anyway. So that slider ball from Andy Leet and then redirected by Paxton, a dangerous ball and often used, isn't it?
Yeah, I love the little back pass for that hit into the in the backspace. I think
Oh, it's a dangerous turnover. Chance for Larwood with, and he's attacked the space beautifully. Oh. And a really well-balanced forehand shot. Often, you know, they blaze away there, but he went for that low bottom corner. We've worked with Luke over the years with that shot, and that was really, really well executed, but really well saved again. Was it saved or was it across the face?
It might have been just across the face.
Yeah, it
but
was.
The lead by Lee Tate opened up that space.
And recognised by Larwood. So now it's the Storm's turn. But again, we talked about that earlier, trying to penetrate that sort of ball through a set defence. Most of the time will be dealt with by the defence. You've got to get the defence moving, and maybe even trying to man up your sweeper with the striker to try and get it through to the next line. So this is counter hockey. You've got Mitchell, who's going to be the high striker. He's almost the designated higher striker, I reckon, for this last 6 or 7 minutes, unless he's chosen just to plonk himself there. But I think that it's a ploy from the coaching staff of the Storm.
Let's put a full forward in.
Put a full forward in, and I don't think you would have a better one to put there. He's clever. He's coming off for a quick breather, is he now? No. So he tried to direct Curtis Wilson there to step out and be more aggressive with his press. So it's really what they have to do now, the Storm. They've got to press up. They've got to gamble a little bit to try and win the ball and then get forward quickly. Will they pull the keeper? You know, sometimes it works. I had a good debate with Ben Bishop, the National Junior Men's coach, when we were at 21s about the number of times that it has worked. And I've probably seen it work in the other team's favour more than the team chasing the game, but that's not based on statistics. Great receive by Larwood. He's been dangerous in this last quarter. And an opportunity here for Storm to take the lead, and a corner given. So I'm not sure what the umpire saw, a bit of a stick clash. They did get the shot away though. Oh, hang on, I think it was a bit of a shove. I was
going to say, I did see a good elbow in there.
I think Connor Richmond's spouse might have helped him on his way a little bit there. So the Storm players can look at the umpire with incredulous looks, but I think it was there, Holly.
I agree.
A big moment in the match here. Scores tied at 2-2. Critical game in the overall outcome of the statewide Super League comp this year, and a chance for the Pirates to take the lead after trailing 2-0.
Yeah.
And are we about to see our 5th PC of the night? Dan Penner's back on the batteries, twirling his stick.
Getting excited. Oh.
And this could easily go the other way. They've got numbers up, clearly.
Oh.
And a chance for Mitchell, who is clever. And he buries the opportunity.
Very nice.
Well, just when you thought down the other end that the team with the corner, which was the Pirates, could have taken the lead, the corner was misinjected. In the end, Dan Penner tried to take it onto his backhand to get a shot away. It was won by Oliver as the runner. I think it was Oliver.
Yep, it
Fed
was.
out, maybe a slightly lucky ball that's found Mitchell. And as we talked about, no better man than Dan Mitchell in those situations. So, but we go down the other end and there's going to be a card given to someone, is there? No, there's not.
Just to calm down, or
just to calm down. The clock stopped, so I'm actually not sure what's happened here, but I think the umpires are. Oh no,
just
so
bring the two captains together.
Which I'm not sure is necessary with 5 minutes to go. It to me has been played in good spirits. We've had some clashes, of course, because it's a fast game, it's a competitive game. But anyway, it's the umpire's right to let the players know that they'd like to see a little bit more, I guess, an understanding of what they need to be doing.
That's right.
As Morton breaks free and looks for his mate Mitchell, but it's well cut out by Leet. So the Storm have got exactly what they needed. If they, as we've been pointed out by our statistician in New Zealand, Matt Cunningham, if they lose tonight, unless our maths is wrong, we'll blame Matt. They would have been eliminated, and they now hold the lead. So it's up to the Pirates now to chase it.
Yeah, so the question is, does Storm now change the way they play to protect their lead, or are they just going to still continue to counter?
Listen, you know, I think any team who is winning the game with 5 minutes to go would be crazy not to have a slight change of tactics around how many players they push forward, or having a certain number behind the ball if they happen to lose the ball. There is absolutely no point in being outnumbered in defence on a turnover if you've already got the lead with 5 minutes left. Great redirect onto the foot of Oliver. Again, Larwood, who has absolutely been the most dangerous player in this last quarter for the Pirates, and so the last time we had a corner for the Pirates, the Storm went up 3-2. So, which you don't often say.
No, but I just love goals against the run of play, especially that. It's just so demoralising for the team that thought that they were in with a shot to score a goal. But
what about if you were the team that had the corner? Do you love the goals against the run of play in that instance?
No, definitely not.
Okay, so our Oliver putting on the safety gear, gloves, and I think he's got the little knee protectors tucked into the socks, and he's ready to go.
Save.
Well saved, and I mean you could probably give credit to potentially the running line of Al to force it down that right hand side, and Sam Carr was up to the challenge. So a bullet dodged by the Storm there. Oh, just a slight lack of control, or
yeah. I think it did hit his foot first before it hit the Storm's foot, but
it seemed like it. The Pirates were surprised. Luke looked as though the wrong decision had been blown, but the umpire's always right, Holly.
Oh, correct. Oh.
So again, Mitchell looking to get on the end of this. Oh, but how well was that read by Andy Lee? Not only read, but picks up on his backhand on the run, with Mitchell getting in behind there, looking for the opportunity. So keeping his team in it there, Andy Lee. Still an really aggressive press by the Storm. So they're leading by a goal, but they're not dropping that press back. So the answer to the question, are they going to do anything different, doesn't look like it. And actually, having coached with Craig Victory, that was always one of his strong mantras, that you don't do anything different. You know, you don't start to try and close the game down. You just keep playing the game. I mean, unless the other team pull their keeper and you have to do something different. And he would often drop an extra free defender, because that's obviously what sort of you get taken away, your ability to have a free defender if they do drop a keeper. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen tonight.
No, they look like they're going to try and score the goal.
Yep.
As per normal.
Yep, so the Storm will just look to try and control the ball in these next 2 minutes. I mean, the coach probably would hold his breath when Coxie dribbles out of defence with 2 minutes to go. Mitchell, after being the hero down the other end, has decided to float back into the other end of the field now. Almost looked like a bit of a shield then by Cox, but he's won the ball. So they'll be in no hurry here.
No.
Yeah, interesting. I'm not sure about that one, but I am not an umpire. Oh, Mitchell, just a slight lack of control, but he was able to make up for it. But they're certainly patient at the back. You know, Todd Kidder hasn't got an aerial bomb on him, so he's going to play it out. Coxie can throw it. Oh, but throws it straight into Cuffy. Yeah, they really want someone on the ball. Dan has got a good throw on him, so maybe this time they'll just send it out. Yeah, it's a smart ball. So he actually took distance off it to find Jimmy Mitten floating into a hole, who's done really well here, and fed it to Connor Richmond-Spouse, who's got forward in a probably a slightly too aggressive position, given they're a goal up with a minute to go. So a chance for the Pirates in the last minute to try and equalise. Good switch of play by O'Shea. Found, I think, Silby. Back to Jermaine. They're trying to open up an angle to get it into the circle. Really well read by Curtis Wilson. And that may have just, I was going to say, may have just snuffed it out. With now Curtis Wilson looking to control the ball in the last 20 seconds, although he's, oh yeah, he has found Jimmy Bitten. I'm not sure if it was as intended, but it worked. So one dying effort. He needs to lash this ball and hope, which he's done. But it goes harmlessly over the baseline, and the final siren sounds with the Southern Storm victors 3-2 in a really exciting game of hockey, Holly.
Yeah, it was great. End-to-end play, counters really, really strong. And there was lots of variety in the game too, which is great.
Yeah, so as we said before, a must-win game for the Storm. They were entrenched at the bottom of the ladder. That raises them up. I think it now actually means it's a live game next week with the Saints taking on the Pirates. I'm fairly sure that having beaten the Pirates tonight, the Saints will, the Storm will now be barracking for the Saints next week. So, yeah, it's been a pleasure bringing the game to everyone, and pleasure working with you, Holly. So that's all for now, and let's hope everyone tunes in next Wednesday night for the next leg of the statewide Super League.